Hello, I'm Mary V. Today, let's talk about the part that musicality plays in your practice. But I wanted to talk about a myth about being musical that's fairly prevalent. And it's that being musical is being lost in the music, being carried away with your feelings. And as a matter of fact, nothing can be further from the truth. When you're playing the violin, you've always got to take care of what's happening at the moment and going towards the next event, which is the next note or the next phrase. And you take care in various ways, and as you get more experienced, you learn to take on more and more and more caring about what's happening at the moment and what's just about to happen. And you never are free of that. That's being musical. It's to take the musical impulse that's happening inside, which is the forward moving impulse that goes from note to note, and taking care of that. And your experience gives you more and more tools in your toolbox to deal with more and more experience in how to characterize it. So being lost in your feelings is not really what happens when you play the violin. It's difficult to define what being musical is, but one part of being musical is to characterize the music, to shape it and interpret it. And that shouldn't really be left to the end. It should be incorporated and thought about right from the very beginning. The musical impulse directs a way to go from one note to the next note, and it responds to the first note, and it produces or it grows into the second note. And if the notes get very, very fast, then it's from one phrase to the next phrase. And the way that great soloists do that is absolutely part of the magic of their playing. So we can take a lot of inspiration from that, but also some knowledge about not leaving musicality to the last minute as if it's a sort of gloss that we put on top. I think that's a big mistake. When we actually end up performing or playing our pieces, because we've added the musicality last, it's actually the first thing that disappears, and it isn't really baked into everything that we do. And that's a very good reason why we should decide what the character, what the shape of the piece that we're trying to play or practice is going to be right from the start, because that informs how you practice it. For example, if you take Bach, one of the partitas, right from the start, it's a really good idea to know the character, how you're going to shape it, so that you know what kind of bowing you're going to be doing. When you're playing that and you're slowing it down, that still has a relation to how I want to play it up to speed. Now, another part of being musical is the impulse that flows from one note to the next note, or from one phrase to the next phrase. There's a growth factor in music. There's a reaction to a note that's being played and a growth into the next note or phrase. And that's incredibly important, because that contributes to shaping and characterizing. But let me take the flow, going from one note to another in a slow tune like the London Derriere, and how one note grows out of another. And let's just think of it that way while I'm playing it. So I hope you could see during that I'm reacting to myself, I'm reacting to flows through, and it's my musical impulse that's doing that, and a flowing forward and making the tune. So let's take something faster. How to put the music into something that's going a little bit faster. So it doesn't really end at the bottom, it continues. And then there's a contrast, it goes to another key. So that journey, the key journey, the arpeggios going down and up and leading to the next thing, that's what you feel inside. That's your musical impulse. And when you practice, that's what you're trying to reach. You've got a goal, a musical goal, and everything in yourself, in your technique, is trying to achieve that smoothly, easily, and successfully. So you need to have a musical goal, no matter what you're trying to practice. You know, difficult things, easy things, slow things, fast things. Don't leave the music till the last minute and put it in like a gloss at the end. So my goal is really, when I come to the second time, I want it to be a nice echo, but I need it to be different from the first time. I don't want to just play it exactly the same. It's an answer, and yet it's a further exploration of those notes. Something, you know. So that's happening all the time, backwards and forwards, as I discover deeper and deeper meanings in the music. And that's part of practice. That's a major part of practice, is to develop your musical characterization of the music. And by the time you've done the technical stuff and you've done the musical stuff and you've mixed them up together right from the start, the music is much more baked in rather than put on as the cherry on top. Anyway, I hope that's helpful, and bye for now.